Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the THE Student. I will play a quick video. We're here with Westlake University in China, and I'll play the video and then we will have some brief introductions after that.
Greatness does not stand alone. It is the mission of Westlake University to be a bridge between diverse communities of global talent, a bridge between disciplines, and to be a bridge between the dreams of today and tomorrow's realities.
We are a leading research university in China, attracting top teacher scholars from around the world. This starts from our tenure and the tenure track policies that are consistent with global standards and the highly competitive support of PI-directed independent laboratories.
Westlake University provides tremendous freedom in research, not just in terms of letting me pursue my research direction my own way, but also by providing the time and the resources I need.
What I really love about Westlake is that it has been designed to promote interdisciplinary engagement and collaborations. This really supercharge, motivate, accelerate research and innovations. It is a small campus with great minds doing big things.
Westlake University provides a world-class education experience, consistent with international best practices, and taught entirely in English. But that is just the beginning.
How does the university craft world-class education? Well, it all starts with the fundamentals, finding outstanding educators from around the world to design a curriculum and teach our students.
But the next generation of innovators needs more than that. We teach our students how to apply science and engineering in a rapidly changing world. Interdisciplinary engagement, early research opportunities, exposure to culture and arts, international exchange, and much more are all integrated into student experience from day one.
Westlake Education Foundation is our financing vehicle. The foundation has attracted around 30,000 donors who believe in our mission and vision. With their support, we can provide generous scholarships and various financial options for students of all backgrounds. We believe money should never stand in the way of a bright mind getting the right education.
We are proud to be based in the stunning and ultra-modern city of Hangzhou, China. In the heart of East Asia, one of the most dynamic and innovative regions in the world, a region that future leaders and thinkers need to understand in order to excel.
A world-class community needs a world-class campus. Our new Yinghu campus was built with that in mind. Yinghu boasts advanced facilities, innovation incubators, comfortable apartments, rich dining options, and sports and recreational facilities, all intelligently blended with beautiful rivers and green spaces.
We understand that true innovation is only possible through diverse and inclusive teams and a community. We proudly embrace diversity in any form and welcome people of all backgrounds to join us at Westlake.
But Westlake University can only be the bridge. It is up to you to decide whether to cross it. We hope you will come and join us.
Wow, well that was a really good insight into Westlake and just a good intro to the webinar. So today Westlake will be talking to us about their incredible PhD programs. And today, to kick things off, I will hand over to Derek, Just a quick note as well, if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the Q&A box at the bottom and we'll get to them at the end of the webinar. So Derek, as I get the PowerPoint up, I will pass over to you.
Great, thank you. Okay, great. Well, first of all, can everyone hear me?
Yes, yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Well, first of all, welcome everyone to tonight's event with Westlake University. We're going to go in with the School of Science and give a brief introduction to not only Westlake, but also 3 of the different PhD programs, which will be mathematics, chemistry, and physics. Can we go to the next slide, please? Actually, there'll be 3 speakers tonight. So myself, so I am Derek Meyer. I'm the Senior Manager of International Affairs here at Westlake. I work also with PhD admissions, primarily with international students. I will go over a brief introduction to Westlake University. And then our main speaker is Dr. Huayi Chen. He's the Chair Professor of Mathematics and the Associate Dean for Education in the School of Science. He will give an introduction to the School of Science, but then also academics at Westlake, and then give more introduction to the 3 programs that we'll cover tonight. And also, we've invited a PhD student in mathematics, not yet, Mai Hao. So he is also research assistant in Dr. Zhu Chaoji's complex dynamics group. But also he has a lot of great international experience. He was studying in Russia and also France, so he can kind of bring this international experience. And also, what is it like to be a student at Westlake? Can we go to the next slide, please?
Yeah, of course. Before we get going, can everyone see the slides okay from your end? Yep, perfect. Okay.
Okay, I'll just go through this very quickly. So first we'll go through Westlake and then introduction to the School of Science. Dr. Chen will also cover admissions and financial aid. We'll have the PhD experience, but I just want to repeat what was said before. And so if you have any questions, please put it in the Q&A at the bottom of your screen. And we'll actually have the 3 of us who all answer questions together. So if you have questions about scholarships or admissions, I can help to answer those questions. Anything about research or academics, Dr. Chung can answer that. And then things related to the student experience, or maybe more about what is it like to live in Hangzhou or to live on campus, you can also ask Hao Mai about that as well. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so you'll see this image quite often throughout this presentation. Actually, can we go back real quick? Thank you. I actually want to point out what this image means. And so you'll see this image repeated throughout the presentation, but I think it's a good place to start because this is basically the heart of our campus. This is called the academic ring. But it's a little hard to see, but actually in different sections, it's different colors. And the reason why that is we have 4 academic schools. So we have the School of Science, which we're covering today. We also have the School of Engineering, the School of Life Sciences, and the School of Medicine. And it's sort of a symbol of our university that we really believe in interdisciplinary research. And we purposely built a campus like this, where it's basically all of the classrooms are here, your research facilities, laboratories are all within one building, because we believe by putting this together that students and faculty will find different solutions to interdisciplinary problems. And so it's really built into the DNA of our campus to have this idea of bringing together different minds from different areas into different areas of research. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so going a bit into our campus location. So Hangzhou is, I would say, a medium city, but it has a lot of great amenities and a lot of great things happening in Hangzhou. Also, it's not far from Shanghai. China has really great high-speed rail train, and so you can go to Shanghai within about an hour. And so it's very easy to go to other places. But there's many things to do and see here in Hangzhou as well. So the name of our university is Westlake, but it's actually named after a real place, Westlake. If you look at the right-hand corner of the slide, that's the actual Westlake. Going back about 800 years ago, this was the capital of China during the Song Dynasty, and this was a cultural center during that time period, but it still is today as well. It's a very arty dynasty. There's lots of poetry and art that was created along this lake. There's also lots of other nature around. If you like to go hiking, if you like camping, there's things just outside of Hangzhou. One of my favorite places in the Hangzhou area is the Xixi National Wetland Park. Has a lot of great things to see there, a lot of like plants and animals and things. But also Hangzhou is really a tech center in China as well. There's the Shenzhen, which is also a tech center. Hangzhou, I would say, is the other tech center. Maybe for just as an example of some of these companies that are here in Hangzhou. Recently in the news, there's been this AI company DeepSeek, which is creating a lot of news. That's housed here in Hangzhou. Alibaba is another famous tech company that's here as well. But as you can see here on the slide, it's home to over 42 unicorn companies, which are essentially privately owned companies that are valued by more than 1 billion. So there's other tech companies, also biomedical engineering companies, pharmaceutical companies. It's really a center for science, engineering, and technology. It's also the birthplace of Dragon Well tea. Another thing that I love to do when I have some free time, I like to go hiking. They're not very tall mountains, but there's mountains surrounding Hangzhou. And often when you're hiking through this, you can kind of look to the side and see these really beautiful tea plantations as well. And the type of tea is called the Dragon Well tea, which is a type of green tea. We've already mentioned some of these, but there's actually 3 different UNESCO World Heritage Sites around the area, which is Westlake. There's also the Grand Canal, which is also a very important transportation hub going back in Chinese history. Also not far from campus is the archaeological ruins of Liangzhu City as well. Okay, next slide, please. We actually have 2 different campuses. So the first campus that was built is the Yunxi campus. Our new campus, which I would say probably most students will be at the Yungu campus, probably depends on your major, could depend on your academic advisor. You might need to go to the Yunxi campus. It's about a 35-minute driving distance, but we have shuttle buses. It's very easy to get to. Most likely you'd be living at the Yungu campus. The Yungu campus is still being built. I think I started at Westlake about 3 years ago, and it was just brand new, and I came in right as it was opening. But there's still a few different sections that are being built. There's a beautiful library that's in the process of being built, but I think everything should be finished by the end of 2025. So it's a brand new state-of-the-art facilities and a brand new campus as well. Next slide, please. Okay, this is repeating a little bit, but it's kind of going through. So Westlake, we were established in 2018 as a new type of research university. To me personally, this idea of the new type of research university is that we are purposely not a comprehensive university. We focus on science, engineering, and technology. We put all of our resources and all of our energy into making these the best programs we have and having enough resources and facilities for these programs. But we're also supported by public and private funding, which is a bit unique in China. As I mentioned, those tech companies and pharmaceutical companies, we had a lot of philanthropic donations that go into our programs, but also we're supported by public as well. A reformer in China's higher education system. And we've also attracted a lot of globally leading professors, which Dr. Chen will go more to that later. And we've developed a lot of state-of-the-art disciplines, and we also educate our students to be future scientific and industry leaders. And we've made quite a few fundamental scientific discoveries, which I'll mention a few. I think Dr. Chen will also mention some of those as well. Next slide, please. Here's kind of a snapshot of how Westlake will look at 2026. It's actually quite similar to the moment. We plan to have around 3,000 students. As you notice here, there's actually more graduate students and undergraduate students. And these graduate students are all PhD students. We don't offer master's programs. They're all PhD students. The reason for this is we actually started with the PhD program first. So we put our efforts into creating those programs and having facilities for graduate level coursework. And then recently we've started admitting undergraduate students. We've had 3 cohorts, and our first cohort will graduate next year. So around 1,000 staff, which include research fellows, teaching staff, administrative staff like myself. We also have around 270 faculty, which include full professors, associate professors, and assistant professors. And they really have been recruited from around the world from top world-class programs as well. And we also will have around the number of 600 postdoctoral fellows. And I just want to point out that it's pretty common once you graduate from a PhD program that you may want to go to another university for postdoc work. But it has happened where for some reason, maybe there's some synergy between another faculty's research. If you wanted to stay at Westlake, you probably could also do postdoc work as well. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, the next two slides, I want to point out that in Dr. Chen's presentation, he'll go through how there's quite a few different facilities and research centers in the School of Science. But I want to point out there's actually a lot of resources across the university, and there may be something where, essentially you'll have access to your research advisor's laboratory. There's facilities in the School of Science, but there's also these other things available across campus that you're available to use. We have one national platform research center. We have 6 different Zhejiang provincial key laboratories. We have an engineering research center of Zhejiang province. At the university level, we have 9 different scientific research institutions. We also have some regional joint research institutions. So I won't go into this too much, but just to show that we have these research available to you as well. Okay, next slide, please. And just as another example of some of these facilities that are available on campus, we have the Biomedical Research Core Facilities, Laboratory Animal Research Center, Instrumentation and Service Center for Physical Sciences, which maybe some of you would be interested in using, Instrumentation and Service Center for Molecular Sciences, Westlake Center for Micro Nanofabrication, and the Westlake High Performance Computing Center. And just to emphasize once again that this is available to students across the university, and so you have these other facilities included into what may be offered to you by your advisor or by the School of Science. Okay, next slide, please. And I'm going through all of these, but just to highlight that our professors, they are publishing in the top research, journals, Science, Nature, Cell, etc. And science really is sort of a team sport. As you can see, these are all, the teams who are making these research achievements. And as a PhD student, you'll have the opportunity to be part of this really cutting edge research and part of the team doing these kinds of things. Okay, next slide, please. And here are a few of our campus buildings and facilities. I've already pointed out the auditorium. It's actually the center of the academic ring. So we have lots of performances there. Possibly when you graduate, maybe that's where you would go for your commencement, those sort of things. Our classrooms are well equipped, and they're all smart classrooms as well. We currently have a beautiful library, but it's the smaller version, but it's a great, nice place to go at the moment. As I mentioned before, we are currently building a very nice and very tall library to be the tallest building on campus, but it should be completed, I would say, at the end of this year. Here are student apartments. This is actually a picture of our graduate student apartments. And so I want to point out that for all students who are admitted to our program, you are guaranteed to have on-campus housing. This is basically what it looks like. Within each suite, there are 2 students. So, but you have your own room. You can close the door. It's not very common in China to have a kitchen in the apartment. So there isn't a kitchen, but there's plenty of things on campus, which I'll point in just a moment. But there is a bathroom and a shared living area in each of these areas. It's approximately 2,000 RMB for the entire year, so it's very affordable as well. Okay, next slide, please. As an example of some things on campus for food, it's very self-contained on campus. There's 4 different canteens. There's a dining car, and it often has Western food. It used to have good tacos. I don't know if it still does. Haven't had it in a little while. But there's also Western food. There's a lot of variety of food on campus. There's a few different cafes as well. And there's several different recreational and sports facilities. The stadium, that's an old picture. It looks much better now. It's been revamped, and it's not as brown as this picture here. Next slide, please. And also we have a lot of campus activities where we invite different speakers from around the world to come. Some of them have been Nobel Prize winning professors and researchers. We have a series of lectures as well. We often invite some world famous musicians as well. Maybe it's not as famous outside of China, but in China, this pianist Lang Lang is quite famous, would be a top classical pianist. We also have our own campus music festivals as well. And if you're into marathons, then Westlake is definitely for you. There's our university president, President Shi Gong. He's very much into running marathons. And so we promote, being active and running. And there's also a yearly campus marathon as well. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so now we're going to go next into the School of Science. I'll do a brief introduction for Dr. Chen. Next slide, please. Okay, so Professor Huayi Chen is the chair professor of mathematics and serves as associate dean for education in Westlake University School of Science. Professor Chen completed his PhD from École Polytechnique in 2006. From 2006 to 2023, Dr. Chen held positions in École Polytechnique, University of Paris 8, University of Grenoble, and University Paris Cité. His research in the field of arithmetic geometry in collaboration with Professor Mariwaki has established the theory of adelic curves, extending Arakelov geometry to general countable fields. And with that, I will give the stage to Dr. Chen.
Okay, thank you very much for your introduction. So now I will make a brief introduction to School of Science and also to the PhD programs of our school. So essentially, the School of Science at Westlake University contains mathematics, physics, chemistry, astronomy, and also interdisciplinary studies. So especially for these interdisciplinary studies, we have a center of interdisciplinary study. So where we recruit experts from maybe physics and biology and also complex systems. So it's really some new type of research center in China. So our goal is to build a world-class team of faculty and researchers and conduct pioneering, perspective, and systematic basic science research. And we welcome students from all over the world to innovate our research in these disciplines. So please turn to the next page. So now we have 330 students, as explained before. So we have more doctoral students than undergraduate students. The reason is that we have only maybe 3 years of undergraduate students in the campus. We have a new. Our university is quite new, but we have already recruited several years of doctoral students. So it's before recruiting undergraduate students, we have already recruited graduate students. So we have now 56 principal investigators. That means professors, associate professors, assistant professors, and also 10 academic staff, including teaching faculty, and also 221 postdocs and researchers and other administrative staffs. Next page, please. So our dean of School of Science is Professor Deng. He is an expert in chemistry. He's also vice president of our university, and I'm conducting education of mathematics, and physics is conducted by Professor Wu Chongjun, and chemistry by Professor Zhang Xin, and astronomy conducted by Professor Mao Sude, and interdisciplinary studies conducted by Professor Tan Chao. Next page, please. Okay, so most of our faculties have experience of study or work in the international universities. For example, before coming back to China and joining Westlake University, I have been working and I have been studying and working in France during 23 years. But many other colleagues, they have similar experience. They have worked and or studied in abroad during many years. So next page, please. So now the research laboratories, we have several laboratories supported by the government. So they have been nominated as key laboratories of the local or central government. And we have also several research laboratories founded by the university. They focus on different branches of science. For example, there is a Center of Artificial Photosynthesis for solar fuels. So it's a research center focused on research on carbon neutrality. And also there is an Institute for Theoretical Sciences, where this research center recruits experts in mathematics and theoretical physics, and also the Center for Interdisciplinary Studies, so focusing on emerging fields across the boundaries between physics, biology, artificial intelligence, and the complex system. Next slide, please. So we have also several research facility centers like Instrumentation and the Service Center for Molecular Sciences, and the Instrumentation and the Service Center for Physical Sciences, where the different faculties share, different schools share their resources of facilities, research for the facility. So next page, please. Okay, so let me introduce briefly the research areas studied by our researchers and students. In mathematics, we have a broad research interest on pure mathematics and applied mathematics, and also probability and statistics. And in physics, we focus on theoretical physics, condensed matter physics, and the computational physics, and optics, and high energy physics, and statistical physics, and quantitative biology. And also astronomy is also a part of physics in the view of diploma that we could deliver. And also chemistry focuses on organic chemistry and chemical biology, materials and nanoscience, physical chemistry, and computational chemistry. Next page, please. So we have obtained wonderful results on research on a different area. So for example, here you have recent research achievements. For example, Professor Deng Li's group and also Professor Zhao Yigen in mathematics, Professor He Ruihua in physics, and also Professor Sun Lichen, so in chemistry. Okay, next page, please. So as you have observed, our educational program includes undergraduate studies, doctoral programs, and also we have short-term programs, including summer schools, and also special semesters on different topics. So all our courses are given in English, so that international students would have no difficulties of following courses and also doing research in the campus. So working language is English, and also we emphasize on interdisciplinary activities. As I have mentioned, we have an interdisciplinary center for dedicated studies, but we also encourage the collaborations of laboratories of different schools. And as you have observed that we have this academic ring, so that we could visit other laboratories without going outside of the building. And so our future-oriented educational philosophy is reflected in all of our academic and campus life programs. Next slide, please. So maybe you are more interested in graduate studies, but which I just mentioned that we have 3 majors in the campus for undergraduate students: mathematics, physics, and chemistry in our School of Science. So next slide, please. So for doctoral programs, we offer PhDs in mathematics, in physics, and also in chemistry. Next slide, please. So PhD in mathematics is a joint program with the Fudan University So it's a typical situation in China. As newborn university, in the beginning, we need to apply for the ability of delivering a PhD diploma. So before obtaining this how to say authorization from the government, for the moment we have a joint program with Fudan University, and the students will be enrolled at Fudan University and also at Westlake University. So they will obtain the diploma from Fudan University, and so for this purpose, as a rule of Fudan University, international applicants must have completed or in the final year of a master's program. And research topics cover a wide spectrum of mathematics domains, including algebra, analysis, geometry, topology, number theory, differential equations, and computational mathematics. And in the future, next year, we will have also statistics and probability. And the period of study is 4 years of a full-time study. Okay, next slide, please. So a program in physics, now we have autonomy in the program of a PhD study in physics. So for this program, students having a bachelor's degree could apply. So it's different from math program in mathematics. So both students with bachelor's degree or master's degree, they could apply for our program. The difference is that for students holding a master's degree, they have a 4-year study. However, for students only having a bachelor's degree, they have a 5-year study. So they need to follow more courses than students having already a master's degree. Okay, so there is a very special area is complex physical systems in life sciences. So this area is so research in this area is conducted in the center of interdisciplinary study. So students students choosing this area, they will do research in that center. Next slide, please. And also, similarly to a PhD program of physics, the program in chemistry is also autonomous. So we could welcome students with master's degree or with bachelor's degree. And so the research areas covers a large spectrum of research interests in chemistry, like organic chemistry, inorganic chemistry, physical chemistry, materials chemistry, and chemical biology. And similarly, students holding a bachelor's degree, not a master's degree, they should their program is 5 years instead of 4 years. Next slide, please. And now let me introduce the short-term programs of our School of Science. Next slide, please. So during summer, we have international science summer school separated into different topics. Mainly, the main topics are mathematics, physics, astronomy, and the interdisciplinary sciences. Sometimes we have also some schools on specific topics. For example, last year, I think we had some topics in collaboration with School of Engineering on AI, artificial intelligence. And we have also some graduate research internship. And in this program, we welcome master students or maybe PhD students to visit our campus and to do collaborating researches. And also we have a visiting international study program. So they could come for several weeks and up to 6 months, or they can come for a whole semester or 1 year to follow our courses and also to conduct collaborating researches and to discuss with professors and other students in the campus. Next slide, please. So this international science summer school. Usually the application will open on the March. So for interested students, they could click the link to consult the web page of the application, so usually we offer some scholarships, maybe that might be full or partial scholarships for a selected participant. So next slide, please. So now I would like to mention a little bit on the admission procedure and also financial aid for PhD student. Slide, please. First, application requirements. For international program, we just welcome non-Chinese citizens, and they need to fulfill some English language skills by providing proofs of results of TOEFL test or some equivalent English test. Very special feature for mathematics is that students only need to provide these scores of English test only in the entrance of the university. So during the application procedure, they don't need to provide such certificate. It's only after the admission, before entering the university effectively, they need to provide this document. But for other programs, usually they need to provide such English score. And in the application documents, it's more regular. They need to provide a personal statement and academic records, and also recommendation letters. So below there is a brief description on the admission deadlines. Usually the first round is between October and November, and the second round is between December and March. Okay, so next slide, please. So this is a description on the tuition fee, but I would like to mention that admitted students this year, they will receive a full tuition waiver, so they don't need to pay for the tuition fee, knowing that this exists. And the accommodation, according to the room provided to students, there might be a slight difference. So that vary between 100 and 1,800 yuan and 2,200 yuan. So maybe I should say maybe it's not more than 400 euros per year. And they also need to pay some insurance for of an amount of 800 yuan per year, and also they could receive some scholarship. Okay, so next slide, please. And now maybe a PhD student experience. Maybe I would like to introduce Hao Mai. He is a PhD student of mathematics of our university. Maybe he will share his experience in this university. So I pass the talk to him.
Thank you very much for introducing me. Okay, so I don't have slides. I will just talk. So my name is Mai. I'm currently a first year student at it says here at the Institute of Theoretical Studies. Okay, today I will talk something about, based on my own experience, about why I believe the environment or the academic atmosphere here is very supportive. And then I will also be answering questions in the Q&A session, and I will provide a different perspective from that of Huayi or Derek. Okay, so before I arrived at the university, I spent some time in Moscow and Paris, as is already mentioned by Derek. So one of the first things that impressed me when I started my study here is how approachable and active the professors and the researchers in the faculties are. So you know how in many universities or in many faculties, there are senior researchers who are almost never seen and who never take students, but that doesn't happen here. Also, basically every researcher around me are very happy to talk with students or work with students, whether he will be your supervisor or not, your teacher or not. So you won't need to worry about finding advisors or seeking academic ideas here in the university. And another thing, additionally, from what I know of, the educational programs and the academic plan for PhD students here is very free and flexible in comparison to many other universities. So, for example, there are no restriction on what courses you can follow. So maybe because the applicants should be expecting a master's degree before their application for the PhD program. So many of you may feel that you won't want to spend too much time and taking master courses since you already have a degree. It is fine. For example, for me, for the 4 year of my study, I only need to fulfill like the credits minimum for 5 mathematical courses. But this year alone, in our faculty, we have, I believe, 9 graduate level mathematical courses to choose from. And on the other hand, the university also have financial and administrative support for students to participate in academical conferences or other activities in China or overseas. So maybe if at some point you would worry that studying China, you may lose contact with your collaborators or the academia of the country you're from, or you can even apply for exchange programs for a semester or two, or even possibly joint supervision for your PhD project. So, for example, in the last semester, I have been to 4 different conferences in China and in France. So other than the reimbursement for the traveling fees, I also received this bonus that are more than enough to cover my daily costs during my travel. And when I return to the university, there are faculty secretary to help me with the procedure for the reimbursement. So I don't have to spend any time on such administrative chores. And don't worry, I believe that every all of the administrative staff also speaking the English very fluently. And another thing I want to add to what Huayi has already talked about is about the financial support for PhD students. So approximately you will receive a scholarship in amount of 70,000 per year. So I know that this doesn't sound very much if you compare this with PhD students with other countries from Europe or from the US. But don't forget that the living cost in Hangzhou, and especially if you live on campus, the living cost is very low. You can even make some savings from your wage, which I know is almost impractical in many other countries. And also, Hangzhou is considered one of the most beautiful city and one of the young and active cities in China. So I hope and it is very likely that you would enjoy your life in the city if you would become a student here. So, okay, so that will for now be all I want to talk about. Thank you for listening. Maybe we can start the Q&A session.
Hello, that was really insightful. Thank you so much, Hao, and Professor Chen as well. So I will just double check if we have received firstly any questions in the chat. It looks like we haven't, but we do have some frequently asked questions. So to kick things off, I know that how you gave us some insight into what it's like to to live in this area of China, but also what kind of student accommodation's like. How have you found student accommodation to be for yourself, and what's your experience of it?
So for me, I have this dorm, which is exactly like what the picture that Derek showed. It is so I have a roommate who is also working in a school of science. So basically, we can talk, we can hang together if we want to, but because actually the space is very separated too. So each one of us have our own room. So if you feel like you're a very private person, you won't have to deal with your roommate too much.
That's really good.
And of course, yeah.
That's a very good insight. And it sounds like in the presentation, there are a lot of options in terms of housing on campus. And quickly, how do you find also the campus life in general? And have you had much interaction with like student services at all on campus?
So I actually personally do not have involvement with the student, the more official kind of student associations, but I do participate in such in two sport clubs. So one is tennis club, and actually the current head of the club is one of the professors in our faculty, and I also joined the weekly game for the badminton club. And from what I know of, apart from such sport clubs, there are also like movie clubs or a cappella clubs or music clubs. And so there are indeed many to choose from.
Yeah, that's really good to hear. It sounds like there's a big range and something for everyone. Now kind of moving on more to the admissions side, would anyone have some insight into how information on the interview round and what's expected of applicants during the interview process at all?
Sure, I can jump in there first. So for international applicants, it'll be online, and so through Zoom or something kind of like Zoom. And often I tell students who ask this question that it's a little bit like you are defending your master's thesis, or maybe you are presenting a proposal or something, where essentially you'll be giving a 15-minute presentation about introducing yourself, but then on a research proposal. And then after that has passed, there'll be a panel of faculty, maybe 3 to 5, and they'll ask questions about your research, but also maybe fundamental like questions about your field, and to make kind of gauge your knowledge that you are coming to the campus with. And that's kind of the basic idea of it, is that you're giving a presentation, and then we ask a few questions. And essentially, if you pass the interview round, then you'd be admitted to the university. So that interview round is very, very important. So if you are invited to the interview round, I would say definitely prepare that presentation well, and prepare to also answer questions. And maybe I'll pass it off to Dr. Chen then, if you have any other insights on, so what is it like for students in this interview round?
Yes, so essentially, I think maybe mathematics is a little bit special. So we will set a subject to a student to work on the subject during several hours, and then there's an interview after examining the answer. So it's informally there is a written test, but written test online. But for other disciplines, I think there will only be an interview. So please check the website of the application procedure for different disciplines.
Amazing. And I'm not sure if this was already covered in the webinar, but is there an application fee to submit an application at all?
That's a good question. So basically for most programs, no, but only for the mathematics because it is a joint program with Fudan University. And so initially when you apply to Westlake, there's not an application fee, but then if you're admitted later, there is an application fee, and I believe it's 800 RMB. But for all the programs, there's no application fee.
That's good to know. And generally, are there opportunities for extra funding or scholarships?
Yeah, so the Westlake Fellowship is the main form of funding, and that's what Dr. Chen covered. So essentially, there is a tuition grant, and that's actually for the duration of studies, at least for students being admitted at now and current students. And then the scholarship is actually a monthly stipend, and that's what Hamai was talking about, is that it's able to cover and potentially even save for some students, if you can save some of that money, because you're paying the if you're living on campus, you're paying the one-time fee for housing, and then the stipend is basically just for your living costs and those sort of things. As far as other funding, there may be different opportunities from different organizations, from maybe donors who donate money to the university. Also, sometimes there are some Hangzhou municipal scholarships, things like that. And so basically, if you're been to the program, you're guaranteed the Westlake Fellowship, but there may be these extra opportunities. And so we will notify you, like if it's coming from the School of Science or something, somebody would notify you from the School of Science. If it's coming from maybe the Office of Student Affairs, they would send out notifications. So maybe not every year or maybe not every semester, but there are other opportunities, and we would just notify you of those opportunities in case there's applications or those sorts of things.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you so much, Derek. And now some questions maybe for Dr. Chen. What kind of support networks exist in the School of Science departments and in general at Westlake?
I'm sorry, so could you please repeat the question? What kind of?
What kind of support networks exist for studying with the School of Science?
Support network. So you mean some organization, student organizations, something like that, or?
Just I suppose maybe like what kind of support do you get when you're studying in the School of Science from academically?
So okay, so let me say that. So for example, we have the regular seminars, and also so there's mainly important for mathematics and also for other disciplines. But for mathematics, it's very essential to have such kind of regular seminars, and also Institute of Theoretical Science provides colloquiums. We invite experts from all over the world to give research talks, and also an online math forum. So it's somehow designated for students. So we invite experts to explain some basic backgrounds of some research area, and also and then introduce some how to say cut-edge researches. And I think for chemistry and physics and astronomy, we have similar seminars of general interest, and also more specialized seminars. And also students, so maybe in physics or in chemistry, so they often organize visits of students to other universities to discuss with the students or professors of other universities. We have also some organizations of students where they could organize activities and share their ideas and discuss. I think it's like any worldwide recognized university. We organize regular academic activities to support students' research and also campus life.
That's really good to know. Thank you. We've actually had a couple of questions come in the chat box. So I think this has been covered, but a student would like to know what it's like to live in Hangzhou. And I think obviously Derek and Hao have kind of discussed this, but would you say it's quite a vibrant place to live?
Yeah, I think maybe I'll pass off to Haomai first. What do you think?
Yes, I
Sure.
would. It's one of the most vibrant city in China now.
That's good to know. Yeah, anything from you, Derek, before we move on to the next question?
Yeah, well, like so for myself, so I've lived in a few different cities in China. So I actually my first place I lived was actually in Fujian province. Lived in Fuzhou for a while, and then I lived in Shanghai, and then I came here. And so I would say Hangzhou is sort of like a bit of in the middle, where it's like it has some of like the more like smaller town kind of vibe a little bit that maybe a place like Fuzhou might have, but it has a lot of great amenities and a lot of things that are similar to like mega cities like Shanghai. And once again, Shanghai is not very far away, but you know, it has a lot of really great things that you can find in larger cities and great things you can find in smaller cities. So I'd say it's vibrant, but you know, has a kind of a laid back feel as well. And there's lots of things to do. For me, I like to have outdoor things, so I like to go hiking, those sort of things. So if you want to like get off campus and go hiking, or if you just need to, there's also great shopping, those kind of things. There's restaurants. You can find, you know, Western food as well, and those sorts of things. And so there's a lot of things here as well, but it's a nice size where it's not too large, but you know, not too small. So it's a good kind of a mixture of those things, I would say.
Great to hear, yeah, that students have a lot to kind of explore off of campus as well as on. We have another question that's come in just about if it's possible to do a dual discipline PhD.
So it's a very good question. So essentially, I think it is possible. It is possible to do a dual discipline PhD, but I think that implies that you need to apply for the two this. So how to say? So it's okay. So let me be more precise. So we offer PhD programs in physics, chemistry, and mathematics. That means in the end you will get a diploma in one of these three disciplines. However, you could conduct a dual discipline research uh, with a diploma in one of these disciplines. For example, you could enroll into the physics departments as a student working in physics. However, uh, during your study, you could do this interdisciplinary study. So you could do researches in the joint disciplines of physics and biology, for example. There is one program dedicated for this kind of studies. So actually, under the level of physics, there are several how to say branches. So under this mention of physics, where you could study, including such interdisciplinary study. So I think it is possible.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. And a final question, which is there any opportunity for Chinese classes within the university, especially for students with higher HSK levels at all?
I could answer this. So yeah, so actually, so I guess if you're coming with a higher level, maybe it would be a little bit different. But actually, all students in the PhD program, you have to pass HSK 3. But that's sort of like conversational Chinese. And so for all students, you have to have some Chinese, but you don't coming in, you don't have to have any, but you would have some classes for all the programs. But you could definitely could continue. And there's obviously there's lots of opportunities to practice Chinese on campus or off campus. Um, if there aren't classes directly, you can definitely there's maybe not for credit classes, and so there's definitely going to be options to study on campus, either for credit or for not for credit, and there's just lots of opportunities to practice with people.
Brilliant, brilliant. Well, that's great to know. I think that's all of the questions, and we've actually hit 5 o'clock exactly. So, or 6 o'clock rather. I'm not sure if there's anything else you guys wanted to add that would be relevant for the students at all.
Maybe just a quick reminder of the admissions deadlines. And so it's going to be March 10th for mathematics, then, and also for, let me just double check this real quick. I have it on my phone.
No worries. Yeah, that's very helpful information.
Okay, sorry about that. So for chemistry and for mathematics, the admissions deadline is March 10th. And then it's a bit longer for physics. You have all the way until April 16th for physics, but it's coming up pretty close for chemistry and mathematics.
Amazing, amazing. Well, thank you so much to all our amazing panelists today, Hao, Dr. Chen, Derek as well. And it's been really insightful hearing about Westlake and everything it has to offer, as well as the fantastic PhD programs. So I will probably close off now, and thanks for all the students that have come. You'll also receive a recording of this webinar session. So thank you very much once again.
Thank you.
Great, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye. Have a nice day.
Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye. Bye.